Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fumbling Gurus, a podcast that covers the NFL. And now, your hosts, Tom, John, and Gannon. Hello, everybody. I'm John, and I am joined today with Sir Gannon and Sir Tom, and we have a lot to discuss. And guys, I normally like to ask you kind of how your viewing experience was, but I think we can all agree that this week was kind of an emotional week. Maybe not your boohoo crying emotional, but that first snap, it was kind of interesting to watch because of course we had some pretty serious injury for why we missed last week. We skipped last week because we didn't feel it was right to cover sports without talking Damar Hamlin. Say the Bills player who got hurt and a very serious injury on the field. Guys, were you watching that play live? I'll start with you, Gannon.
I did. It was kind of scary. Wasn't it like 23 minutes? Just nothing. And like you didn't hear anything till like 3 days later on like how his condition was. It was, yeah. And it wasn't, and the thing was with that hit, it didn't seem like it was that hard of a hit. And so for it to do that, it was kind of puzzling, but
Yeah, for sure. Tom, I know you shook your head yes that you kind of watched that play live. What went through your mind when you saw it?
Yeah, I think it's what everyone's been talking about. Like, I've never seen something like that occur. Like, everything stopping, ambulance on the field, trying to figure out what's going on. Of course, we don't know much info in that moment, so it's maybe even more confusing for us trying to, like, we're not getting updates of what potentially happened, so we're trying to scramble and I can't imagine the players what they're going through, seeing that happen live and seeing someone he worked play with day in and day out that happening to them. Um, I know there's been some talk of whether the NFL did cancel or the teams called it or whatever. I'm just glad that someone made the right choice and made sure that no one was enjoying the rest of that game. Everyone was going to be thinking about him, fans, players, everyone. So yeah, it's good to hear though. He seems, I think today he flew back to his hometown and everything. So it's good to hear the updates now. But yeah, it was a scary week for sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to cover and spend too much time on it, and here's why. It's been talked about nonstop by everybody. It was horrific. It was horrible, and everything and anything that we can say about it has been said. But one thing I want to make very clear, and I think you guys can agree, football is dangerous, and while sometimes there can be jokes made or things about certain players. At the end of the day, we don't want to see anything like that. It was an absolute tragedy, and those first responders being able to jump in and do what they needed to do and ultimately save his life was a miracle. It was scary, it was horrific, and yeah, I mean, it was anything and everything people could talk about, and that's why we took last week off. We It was too big of a moment. We couldn't do it justice. I thought the media did an amazing job covering it, and then you had those jerks. I'm not going to list who. You guys know who they are. Who took it to gain more popularity and just to be divisive. And my suggestion of those block, move on. Don't give them any interactions. Don't retweet them. Don't follow them. Don't click on them. Let them vanish into the darkness of the interwebs. I'm kind of real quick, final thoughts on that, and then we're going to move to the next depressing thing that the NFL has to offer.
I think it's just what you said. Like, thank God for those first responders, like responding as fast as they did, saving his life.
Yeah, I think for me, seeing the outpour from the community, he, I guess in the span, the family kind of promoted his charity. He said, if you want to help, go here. And to see, I think last I checked, there's like over 5 million. So it's insane seeing them, community come together, show their support, and now he can go and make a difference in the community. And yeah, that's just awesome to see.
As of I want to say as of 23 hours ago, it was over $8.6 million. raise.
Wasn't it like a couple $1,000?
Yeah, his original goal is like $2,500, and now he's
Oh
at
my
eight
gosh.
million. So
I will be honest, and this was covered by a lot of people, a lot of fans, people who aren't fans. But one thing I will give Bills fans credit for is they are very generous with their money. So when they've done that many years, so that was awesome to see and great to see.
hmm
Playoffs, and we're going to get into it, are an exciting time for every team that makes the playoffs. But the day after the season ends is called Black Monday because with the season comes firings. And I'm just going to kind of list the coaches off. I'm going to give you guys a second to talk about maybe a surprise firing. Some of these are already done. And then we'll kind of move off of that because that's really more of an end of the season stuff. And that is Cliff Kingsbury. Obviously, Hackett was fired. The Colts head coach was fired. Carolina's head coach was fired, and the Texans fired Lovie Smith after a single year. That's two head coaches fired back-to-back years from the Texans. Any big surprise from you guys? Tom, I'm going to jump with you first.
I don't think there's any big surprise. I think the biggest surprise is just that we saw a lot of these changes last season, and then now it's coming right back. Like there's just a lot of people that couldn't hold down those jobs. I mean, to be fair, I don't think a lot were given. Like Lovey Smith, who did he have? Like who did you what do you expect him to do with that team? Um, and then I think maybe the other surprise, I mean, not based on performance, but Cliff Kingsbury, what he just signed like a deal till 2027, and now they're basically, oh well, we don't like that anymore. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think it's more so nothing surprising, but a lot of just disappointing seasons for a lot of teams that probably shouldn't have had that.
My favorite Arizona Cardinals stat was in the history of the Arizona Cardinals, they've not had a coach last more than 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Dan, and any surprise firings or anything you want to say about the coaches before we jump on?
I mean, we're looking at these coaches. Was this a surprise to anybody that these coaches were gonna fly away after one season or a couple seasons? Like all these coaches that are being fired, you look at the teams, you're like, yeah, that's rough.
I will say, Lovey Smith may be one of my favorite coaches of all time for what he did to the Houston Texans. There was a tweet, they were up big at halftime, and there was a tweet from, I think it was Jeff Darlington, and it basically, I'm going to summarize it roughly. He said basically he should call the owner and say, hey, am I back next year? Yes or no? Because if the Texans win, they have the number 2 pick of the draft. But if they lose, they get the first overall pick of the draft. It's 4th and 20, 50 seconds left on the play clock, down by 7, and they throw a Hail Mary, and it's a touchdown. But they don't settle for the field goal. No, they line up and they go for 2. And Lovey Smith walks out of there with a win and the number 2 pick of the draft, leaving the Texans missing out on the top pick.
Feels good to
Was
be a
that
Bears fan.
is that not beautiful?
That's like everyone talks about like the day they're gonna go in the office and send like yell their resignation and walk out. That's basically what he did. That's
Let me remind you, tanking is not allowed in
yeah,
the NFL. So
Coaches, coaches and players do not coach or play to lose.
yeah.
But that play, oh, that was brilliant. Everybody knew Lovey Smith was a one and done coach. He had to know when he got hired on that he was a one and done head coach. That was such an elite troll level move. It almost was as good as a Cincinnati Bengals running back. Tom, I know that you watched that play. We talked about it a little bit. Tell me what happened and your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think he was a little not on the same page as the NFL's decision of what to do about the missed game and stuff. Um, so what the first touchdown he had, I think it was in the first quarter. Um, he walks into the end zone, pulls out a coin from his sock, which you're not allowed to use props. So we already knew where this was going after the fact. And does a little flip to see, I guess, who's going to be 1 seed or 2 seed, that kind of situation. So, yeah, a little troll to the NFL about their decision making and not following, I guess, the rules of competition they had set out at the beginning of the year. Um, but yeah, it reminded me of, oh man, was it Michael Thomas and the Saints that pulled out the cell phone that 1 year?
Well, there's been a couple times people who've used cell phones. Randy Moss pulled out a marker.
Yeah.
Props have been around for a little bit. It's always fun. That was great. Gannon, your thoughts on? So obviously, the Bengals Ravens game, had the Ravens won and they had matched up, it would have been a coin flip to determine the home field team. Bengals were not fans. They had locked up the division. They said, why should we be playing for a coin flip? There's the coin flip. What were your thoughts on the elite level troll by Joe Mixon?
I love showmanship. And they honestly should allow that more often. I think that draws eyes. We're talking about that game more because of it, right? Like, I don't know. It to me, I'm all for it, but I get why the NFL would frown upon something like that, seeing as, it's their rule. But
No flag. He'll get a fine. Chad Johnson, who is known to celebrate his touchdowns, said, "Don't worry, Mixon, I got you." So we'll see if, how that actually plays out. But yeah, it was hilarious. I loved it. Greatest touchdown celebration of the year. That's my vote. I don't want to harp on a couple of games, but I want to give just a bit of an opening for this. Gannon, I'm going to time you. You got 15 seconds. Go.
wait, what am I doing?
Your Eagles, 15 seconds. Go. Gloat,
Listen,
do whatever.
number one seed. We didn't choke it away. See you in playoffs.
All right, perfect. You did it last. Tom, the Bucks obviously last week had locked up the division when they beat Carolina in what was kind of a close game. They rested a bunch of players. Trask got his first ever job. I'm going to give you 15, 20 seconds. Talk about the Bucks. Get out of your system. We've got a matchup that we're going to talk about more in depth.
Yeah, I mean, this game didn't mean anything. I think the only thing coming out of it, Brady wasn't supposed to play. There's rumors that he was benched and he forced his way into the game. I think he still wanted to win. We still didn't show up the way we needed to. Yeah, we lost to the Falcons last game of the season to end with a losing record. What else is there to say?
You're the sixth team in the history of the NFL to have a losing record and make the playoffs. Congratulations, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I mean, it's set up perfectly though, because so Brady is 7-0 against the Cowboys, and what is more Dallas than losing in the first game of the playoff to a
I can
team
tell you.
that doesn't have a winning record?
I can tell you it's more Dallas. That is trying to win a game to become the possible 1 seed. And absolutely getting obliterated by rookie Sam Howell, I think it is,
Yeah.
from the Washington football team, and getting obliterated. Dak Prescott tried to throw back-to-back pick sixes.
Yep.
The choke job is on. Do we need to go more? The only team, and we're going to discuss this more, is the Rotten Cheese Curds that choked a bigger game than Dallas. All right. Yes, I'm talking about the Green Bay Packers.
You don't have to worry, Tom. It is in the bag. Dallas is gonna choke. We'll get into that later, I'm sure. Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of on the back half here.
Okay.
Well, Miami had a game that actually mattered. They're on a 5-game losing streak. They win and they're in as long as the Buffalo Bills, who are playing for DeMar Hamlin, came out and beat New England. Big moment of the game, opening kickoff return for touchdown. Bills take the lead. Later in the game, another kickoff return. Bills take the lead. Bills win. Miami wins. They're in. It is a 6-6 game. It is ugly. It is disgusting. It is gross. Miami lines up. They hit a 50-yard field goal. They take the lead. The next play, Joe Flacco does a little trickery pitch play, trying to get a miracle, and it's a safety. Miami wins, dominates 11-6. And I just want to point out some facts for you guys: 3 wins, 3 losses; 5 wins, 5 losses. I mean, Miami's on a win streak now. I wouldn't want to play them. That's all I'm saying. We're going to get more into that here in just a second. Tom, another team that had a lot to play for was your Jacksonville Jaguars in a win-and-in situation going up against the Tennessee Titans, who were far from, well, a Titan at the moment. They were on a huge losing streak. Walk me through that game.
Yeah, I mean, Titans have been not what we'd expect in the last couple weeks. They've been playing without their starting quarterback and some other issues. But well, I think we looked it up last year. They were on like a 5-game losing streak or something. Coming into this game, Jaguars are kind of been on fire the last couple weeks. They've been playing well. They have some weapons. ETN's still playing well. Lawrence has been showing up and leading the team. So I mean, they're kind of poised for another. What's the Eagles head coach? It's
Doug Peterson.
Doug Peterson. Yeah, he's kind of poised for another like playoff run from him. This is what he did with the Eagles. So I don't know, man. Watch out for him.
Jaguars are on a 5-game winning streak, and the Titans ended the year on a 7-game losing streak.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they went from 7-3 to 7-10. Yikes. And with that Jaguars win and with that Miami win, for the first time since 1999, all 3 Florida teams are in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know about you, Tom, but you pretty confident that the trophy's coming to Florida?
I mean, we have the best chance, right? Like, if you run the numbers, we have the best chance. So how can you say it's not?
I'm right there with you. You know what? Let's just go ahead. We can stop right there. That trophy's going to Florida.
We'll make hats like we did similar to the UCF World Champions ones. We'll just go ahead and call it here.
Like, even if Miami and the Bucks lose, Tom still wins.
It is nice to have 2 teams to root for. I should probably look into that.
I don't. It doesn't count as bandwagoning, right? Because I've kind of been on their wagon for like.
You can root Urban Meyer. There's no way.
You can't be a bandwagon fan when you were kind of saying go Jags last year.
Mm-hmm. All right.
One last kind of exciting game. The Rams were not able to take care of business, so the Lions, well, according to their head coach, we had to go home, so we had to make sure they went home too. Versus the rotten cheese curds, as I said. And by the way, any Packers fan who's mad at that, understand that I've got a couple Packers fans that will be hearing this. So I was upset when the corner did the waddle. This is my chance to get back at him, okay? Don't like it? Well, just close your ears for 10 seconds. And all you're going to hear is that mighty roar, because the Lions were such a fun team. Man, we talked about them, and they were so close. That was a fun game, wasn't it, guys?
I wanted to see them. Like, that was the one team I wanted to make the playoffs. I think it would have been, like you're saying, they were fun to watch. They had an explosive offense. I would have liked to see them in the playoffs, see what they can do. And I think the fans too. Like, when's the last time they got to root for them in the playoffs and see what an exciting team that has a chance.
Shannon, were you watching that game, and what?
I was. And gosh, I credit to the Lions knowing, because Seattle's game was first, that you're already out and coming in there and not being a slouch and knocking your rival out. That was so nice. Is there a better feeling?
By the way, the last time the Lions won a playoff game was 1991.
See, that's what I'm saying. They deserved it.
They did. I have a stat for you guys. I don't know if I think I posted it in chat in our chat there, but there's a stat for you. Since there's a lot of talk, obviously at the end of the game, there was a jersey swap that was asked, and Aaron Rodgers said, "I want to keep this one," which obviously means was this his last game? Was this his last game as a Packer? Blah blah, blah all that. We're not going to get into that. But Brett Favre's last 6 throws, he was 2 of 6 for 12 yards, and his last pass was a game and season-ending interception in Lambeau Field. Aaron Rodgers' last 6 passes, he was 2 of 6 for 12 yards, and his last pass was a game and season-ending interception at Lambeau Field. Is that how it ends? Yes or no? Tom?
You know what I think it means? That this is all simulation. We're all in the Matrix.
There you go. And
Um,
we are such wise words here in this podcast.
so is that Brett Favre as a Packer, or
Brett
is
Favre is a
that
Packer.
okay? So that's not when he came back and played for what, the Vikings or whatever that
No.
was. Interesting. I mean, I I think, and I've been hearing some people talk about this week, and I think it's been on everyone's mind that Rodgers hasn't really in the off season. He's not there for the team. He didn't seem like he was very much invested this year. This isn't the same Rodgers. It's not the same Brady either. Like there's something in the water, but I just don't see the team wanting to bring him back, and I don't see him wanting to come back. So, yeah, I can't imagine he decides to come back and play another year.
Is this how it ends, Gannon?
Yeah, this is how it ends. I don't know where. I don't know what's on his horizon. Maybe it's broadcasting. Maybe it's Jeopardy. Maybe it's going home to his wife. I don't know. But I don't see him playing for the Packers. But I don't know. He had a all right, not year career. Um, it's something to hang your hat on. I would have done it last year while you were ahead, but with that Brett Favre staff, it's kind of like a history repeats itself sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, he should hang his hat on this, just right off into the sunset.
I want to give a little bit of credit. That stat was tweeted from at Packers History One. So at Packers History One, thank you for that. I had no idea until I read it. So, well, it's time to get into what this week is all about. We talked about leading up to this, and now it is the 6 most important games the rest of the year. But before we get into those games specifically, we need to talk as a whole. And I'll start off. I'll give you two some time to think. Your Super Bowl matchup. Which 2 teams? I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna go with what's probably most people are probably picking: the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. That is who I think will represent the NFC and the AFC. I'm gonna go to Gannon because I know he has his NFC team already picked out. Gannon, who do you have representing the Super Bowl in this year's matchup?
Eagles, Bengals.
Wow, you think the Bengals get back? And now, do you, Tom? Who do you got?
I don't know. Do I pick the teams I want to be there, or do I pick the teams that arguably going to be there? Um, I think for myself, it's hard to not pick the Bills. I think the Bills are a strong team all the way around, and I think they are. I don't think there's much competition for them to get there. So I'm kind of putting them. They're going to be my top seed. Um, ooh, let's see. In the NFC,
You've got the Eagles.
may,
The Go ahead.
well, I'm thinking maybe the 49ers. Maybe them. Bills and 49ers.
Maybe them.
They almost
Well,
made it last year. They have the weapons. Everyone's healthy going into playoffs. Most of them are healthy. I like them.
there you go. So we pretty much have the same, other than you think the Bills. I'm going to say that again just in case somebody didn't catch it. So we pretty much have the same. All right. So now
I
we
think we
got
all
that.
got it. Yeah, we all got
That's
it.
what I had to make sure. I had to make sure. I didn't. You guys weren't laughing, and I just thought maybe it went over Gannon's head, and even though he's tall,
No.
so. Well, we do have matchups I do want to get right into. 49ers Seahawks Saturday 4:30 Eastern on Fox. A battle of Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, versus, well, a quarterback that we all thought was irrelevant. The Seattle Seahawks make the playoff over the Lions. Yeah. Tom, I know that you think 49ers are clearly going to win this game. Is this close or is this a blowout?
I I don't see it being close. I can't imagine it is. I mean, they have it's a double digit spread for that game. The 49ers are 10-point favorites. Um, they're at home. The Seahawks haven't been playing great the last couple weeks. They barely made it past the Rams last week in overtime, and they missed their first field goal, I believe, in overtime or whatever to win it. So they had to come back and yeah, I can't imagine they stand a chance against the 49ers. But it's the playoffs, so you never know. But yeah, 49ers hands down are better on paper.
I'm right
That's
there
what
with you. Blowout. Go ahead, Gannon.
that's what we said about the Raiders. But here I they should win on paper.
Oh,
Division matchup. Seahawks. I just they're sneaky, man. And you got Geno, everybody was counting him out. This is, wild card. Yeah, yeah. See, Seattle can come out. I What exclamation mark would they put on their season by beating a division rival in the wild card?
I think if they were at Seattle, I would agree they have a chance. Like when you're in Seattle, like anything can happen. But they're not. So I don't know. I'm not buying they stand a chance.
I want to give you guys a pretty crazy stat.
Again,
There, there have been 26 playoff games between division rivals since the NFL has moved to 8 divisions. All right. So third matchup has happened 26 times. The higher seed, so obviously the team that would have the home field advantage, how many times out of that 26 do you think they've won?
26.
Gannon?
20.
13.
Wow.
The record is 13-13 on the
50-50.
third match. I believe that we have two of them happening tonight, to this week. You have 49ers and Seahawks, and Dolphins Bills, and Ravens Bengals.
So there's going to be, you think, one upset in those games?
Of those three, I believe that there will be one upset.
I wonder
It is
which one you think it might be.
it is not the 49ers Seahawks. So we were all in agreement except Gannon was like, they should
No, no, no,
win.
no, no.
They should.
Listen, let me clarify.
Maybe.
Let me clarify. I'm saying that they have every right to win. The 49ers do. I would love to see Seattle take out the Niners.
Got it. So your heart wants Seattle, but you know 49ers are going to rout them. It's not even going to be close.
I didn't say that. Those aren't my words.
All right. The next game is, to me, probably my favorite matchup, and that is the Chargers-Jaguars at 8:15 on Saturday. Tom, you know I'm going to have you discuss this. Who you got? Close game, and who do you have winning? Is it a close game or not? And who do you have winning?
This these so these teams have some history. I feel like wasn't it last year? Jaguars kind of chose the fate of Chargers and some of the other teams.
I don't know about last
At the
year,
end of the
but
season. Because
I know they
there's like
faced
two
at
or
one point.
three teams that were right on the edge, and then Jaguars ended up beating the Colts or whatever and knocked some teams out. But anyways, I think honestly, I think this is maybe the best like matchup of the weekend in terms of I'm not sure who's gonna win this game. Um, it's at Jacksonville. I haven't seen the Chargers play a ton this season, just because they don't seem to be on the same TV schedule that I watch. Jaguars are on fire. Eckler is still on fire. I don't know. I think this is going to be the best game. If both teams come out firing, this will be the best game of the weekend. I'm calling it right now. Aside of the weekend, because the Bucs are going to have the best game on Monday and destroy Dallas. Yep. You heard it here first.
So who do you have winning that game? You spoke a lot of circles. Give me a winner.
I don't know who's going to win this game.
Gotta
You
give me a
gotta.
winner. I'll let you think about it, and I'll pass it to Gannon. Gannon, talk to me about this game and give me a winner.
Doug Peterson is gonna go in there and unplug the Chargers. Okay, he's gonna go in there and unplug the Chargers. I think he's gonna get the win. Short and sweet.
You know, I would have agreed with you, except I saw that Jacksonville game against the Titans, and Jacksonville looked almost as bad as Miami did. And I did not think that they looked very good. Trevor Lawrence missed some very big key throws. And while yes, when they're on, they are tough. They're on a 5-game win streak. They're young. They got this kind of swagger to them. Trevor Lawrence kind of looks like the kid that was the prospect. And I hate to say this because I do believe one Florida team might walk out of here with a win. But I think the Chargers shock the Jaguars and get the win in a close game. But the Chargers are not going to Charger the end of this game. They're going to get bailed out by something, and they're going to win this game by like a field goal. That's my gut. That's my gut.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick a difference, you hit on a point there. If I had to pick a difference between the two teams, I think it's the Jaguars just aren't set in their approach yet. New coach, quarterback that's not quite a veteran yet, still learning the ropes, new system. It's his, third head coach or whatever it is over the last couple of years. I'd say that's probably going to be a difference in this game. Jaguars probably just don't have the maturity yet to come out and win a playoff game. Chargers do. Chargers have been in this position. So, yeah, unfortunately, if I had to pick a winner, I'd probably land with the Chargers.
I'll believe in your team for you.
I'm picking with my head on this one.
I can't wait
So
for next week.
we have Sunday, 1 o'clock game.
It's reverse
Uh,
psychology. Like,
Mm,
yeah, if I pick them to win, then they won't win. If I don't pick them, yeah,
fair. I
yeah.
see where you're going.
oh, by that means the Eagles get eliminated this week.
How is that even?
I don't know. You picked them to win the Super Bowl.
Hey,
So Sunday's game, Dolphins versus the Bills. Gannon, is this a close game, and who do you have?
it's not a close game. You look at last week, what the Dolphins did against the Jets, which aren't a good team. I don't think that they're going to go against one of the top AFC teams and come out of there with a win.
Tom, Miami Dolphins versus the Buffalo Bills.
I think if the Dolphins come out with all of their weapons and they play the best of their ability, yes, they have a chance. But I think the problem is the Bills have been playing to that caliber and have been doing that every week. The Dolphins haven't. So I want the Dolphins to win. I know I picked the Bills in the Super Bowl. I want the Dolphins to win, but I just don't. The way they've been playing it's like the Bucks every week, except for the Dolphins. I feel they shouldn't be. They shouldn't be where they're at. They should be a much better team. So if they come out and do what they can do, I look forward to watching it. But the Bills are the safer bet, I feel like, in this game.
You made a point that you said if Miami, for lack of better words, because I don't remember your exact quote, was healthy.
Something
I
to
mean,
that.
look,
Yeah.
Raheem Mostert broke his thumb on his right hand.
Mm-hmm.
Our starting left tackle may or may not play. Our starting right tackle is on IR. Our backup swing tackle is out, and I believe our backup swing tackle is out. So our right guard will probably be the right tackle, and they'll have two new guards in there. Waddle is dealing with a leg injury. Hill is dealing with a leg injury, and the defense is hurt. Oh, and Tua may not play. All right, here's the deal. Tua plays this game. Miami has kept it close against Buffalo, and they beat them in week 3 or 2, whatever week. And then they nearly beat them in a blizzard game. This is 1 o'clock in Buffalo. It's going to be like 30-something degrees. If Tua plays and plays well, I think Miami upsets the Bills. Because the Bills are coming off of an emotional victory against the New England Patriots. That was an emotional week for them. It was emotionally draining. It was tiring. These guys were wore out from everything, and now they have to turn around and play a very well coached team. Unfortunately, I don't think Miami has the horses to pull it off, and the Dolphins will not win a playoff game since the year 2000. And Dan Marino is still the last quarterback to win a playoff game for the Miami Dolphins. Because I don't believe Tua comes out and plays at a high caliber. Even if he plays, I don't think he'll play at the caliber he needs to.
So what you're saying is that the Bills could rest starters and have a bye week.
If the Bills rest starters, Miami wins by 3 TDs. That's what I'm saying. All right, Giants, Vikings. I don't want to even talk about the Dolphins right now. You know what? Miami made the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I said last year when the Eagles made playoffs.
Miami
How'd that
made
go?
the playoffs.
How'd that go, Tom? How did that go, Tom, for the Eagles?
We're about to do the same thing to the Cowboys, so
Okay. Love it.
Miami made the playoffs, man. Don't take that away from me. All right, so now we're going into probably the 2 best teams in the playoffs. 2 teams that we have said week in and week out are just Super Bowl caliber teams, and these are juggernauts. And that is, of course, the Giants versus the Vikings. Um, Gannon, we've said that these two teams are frauds all year long. So which team wins this game?
They're two cons playing against each other. You don't know who's gonna win. I want to say the Giants because they're scrappy, but every time I turn around and say, "Oh, well, this is the day that Vikings are gonna lose," they don't. They keep winning. I don't know how. I don't know why. I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
So what you're saying is you trust Dalvin Cook and Justin Jefferson more than you trust just Saquon Barkley?
Exactly.
Can you name a wide receiver on the Giants team?
I couldn't.
Eddie Galladay caught his first touchdown pass, man.
Oh,
Come
Is
on.
Sterling Shepard still on there?
I believe, yeah. I think
oh.
he's the other guy. Uh, Tom, talk to me about this game.
I mean, I kind of want. I don't know. So we talked every week about the Vikings. I'm pretty sure like every week with the Vikings and their point differential, how they win games by single scores. I don't think that's going to cut it in the playoffs anymore. Um, it's going to be a different ball game. They're going to need to be decisive in some of the victories. Um, I would kind of like to see the Giants win this game. I think the Vikings are kind of a one-trick pony of their options and how they approach a game. A lot of their wins have been Justin Jefferson pulling it out of a hat and helping them in the very last second do things that normal humans wouldn't be able to do. I'm not excited necessarily to watch the game, aside from seeing the Giants continue this streak of a season that they're having. So I just want to see the Giants keep winning.
I think I like sometimes just when there's just two teams going against each other and you look at it and you're like, I like to look at matchups. And there's no question Justin Jefferson is the best player on the football field. The second thing is I look at quarterbacks, and it comes down to who do you trust more, Cousins or Daniel Jones?
You're so high on Kirk Cousins, though.
Doesn't matter how high I am on him, it's how low I am on Daniel Jones. And, well, the better quarterback will win this game. So, can you draw in the playoffs? I mean, is that
I guarantee if there's a game that tries to do it, it's going to be this one.
this is going to be an odd game. I expect odd things to happen, and I'm actually excited for the oddity of this game.
They
But I
should
think
bring in Mixon at the very end to just flip and see who wins.
I like it. I do have the Vikings winning, probably by about a touchdown or 10 points, because I believe that the Giants will just run out of gas.
Hope they don't double doink the game away.
You never know. We've got Ravens Bengals Sunday night, the rematch from last week, the coin flip that doesn't need to happen. What do you got in this game, Tom? And first off, what happens if Lamar Jackson doesn't play? And then what happens if Lamar Jackson does play?
I don't see there being much of a difference, whether he plays or not. I mean, clearly, if he doesn't play, I think it's a no-brainer. Bengals have been hot. They've been the second half of their season was insane, and I mean they're clearly going to continue the streak. I hope and want to see them continue to win. I mean, it was exciting watching them last season in the playoffs. So I kind of want to see them get back to the Super Bowl again. Um, but I think they lost in the championship game, didn't they?
The Bengals?
Or did they make
No,
it?
they make it to the Super Bowl and they lost.
That's right. They Kansas City. Yeah, I got it. If Lamar Jackson's back, you never know. I just don't see him overcoming the Bengals. They have too many weapons and they're playing too well.
Fair enough. Gannon, your thoughts?
I already listed them as the AFC's Super Bowl or not Super Bowl winners because that would be false. Um, the champion of the AFC. So I'm gonna go with the Bengals. They've been like Tom said, they were hot, so I think they keep on rolling.
Joe Burrow was asked about the Super Bowl window, and he says, as long as I'm the quarterback here, the Super Bowl window's open. Um, Good question on there. He said that right because with the amount of sacks he takes, yeah, he could be one more, 2 more years. That'd be it. I'm with you guys. I think they steamroll the Ravens. The Ravens aren't good enough, even with Lamar Jackson, because even if Lamar Jackson's healthy, I'm not sure he won't be rusty, and the receiving core is just not good enough. Um, so I said that I believe one of these teams will win in the rematch, and I believe the 49ers steamroll the Seahawks. I do believe the Bengals steamroll the Ravens. And if there is a team that can do it, I do believe it's Miami. If Tua is sharp. That's all I've been saying. One of those teams will win. I know that we've all predicted them losing. I'm willing to say that I believe one will win, even though I predicted all three to lose. All right? So I can't be wrong is what I'm saying.
Gotcha. We definitely won't hold you to
I do not want to talk about this next game.
it. I'll do it for us.
Do it.
Take it away.
Send it.
Oh man.
All
I
right,
don't.
that's enough right there.
Yeah,
We'll
I
move
mean
on.
that's that
Good.
sigh. That sigh is pretty much the entire Buck season. Um, we're sort of picking up our play a little bit outside of the Falcons game and the fact that we can still barely win each game. Um, we got Michael Thomas, or not Michael Thomas, Mike Evans. I don't know why Michael Thomas is on my brain. That's like the third time I mentioned him today. Mike
Same thing.
Evans coming back. I know everyone was pissed in fantasy because a couple weeks ago, out of nowhere, he had like 3 touchdowns. But we got him going a little bit heading into the playoffs. Um, I think the one thing we still just I don't know can't get going is the running game. But we got some of the play action going. That's where Evans is getting some of his traction from. Uh, but I don't know, man. Cowboys though, if you watch the last couple weeks, I how can you lose to the Cowboys when they're playing like that? Um, I mean, it was. I don't even think they were playing football last week. There was a play where they had it was like just a out route of like a 5 and stop. Dak Prescott threw it to him once. The guy tripped and missed the pick six. And Dak is like, you know what? I'm just going to do the same thing because it worked so well last time. So the very next play, they do the same thing. And the guy picks him off and does a pick six. And it's like, what are we doing here? The entire time the commentators were talking about, oh well, we need to give them a little bit more time. They're playing really bad. Let's give them some momentum. And they said that the entire game, and they never went anywhere. And I can't imagine heading into the playoffs after playing like that, and then you got to face Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette. Um, I saw Jensen was like practicing this week. We may have our center coming back soon.
Well,
Uh,
you better because your starting center all year just got seriously hurt and will not be playing next week.
yeah. So, I mean, Tampa is a scary team, but we just haven't been playing like it. So if we pick up momentum into the playoffs, I mean, I wouldn't want to be playing Tom Brady in the playoffs. That's all I have to say.
I was going to ask you when you said scary, were you talking about playing against them or the fans watching their team?
Both.
Got it.
If the Bucks make it anywhere in the playoffs, it's going to be the type of games where you're like, why are we playing like this? We're a terrible team. What's going on? And then the final 2 minutes, we're going to be on the edge of our seat because our team's driving down the field for the game-winning touchdown. Um, that's how every playoff game has been for the Bucks. That's how it's apparently going to continue going. Um, so yeah, and I mean our defense is decent. I think they're like ranked sixth in the league or something. So it's, I mean, if Dallas doesn't come to play, it could be an interesting game for them.
Shannon, this is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus your favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, their defense can be elite at times and absolutely terrible at other times. Their offense shows signs of life and then vanishes. Does Dallas have a chance against Tampa? Or do they choke it
Dallas
away?
Dallas has a chance at not potentially not choking, but let's face it, we all know Dallas chokes in playoffs. That's just their MO. And what was the statistic you pulled up? How many times has, like, what's this Tampa Bay versus the Cowboys is 7-0? Is that what you said?
Tom Brady against the Cowboys, 7-0.
Tom Brady
Oh,
against the Cowboys.
Brady was undefeated against Atlanta until last week. Tom Brady had never had a losing record until this year.
Tom
Tom
Brady,
Brady this.
Tom
Tom.
Brady, Tom Brady beat the Saints. Okay,
That is
that's
true.
all you need to know. And week
That's
one, if you look at week one, that's going to tell you everything you need to know about how this game is going to go. It was 19-3 Tampa Bay. Okay?
Everything you need to know is for how this game is gonna go.
Exactly.
That's good. That was good. So just to get this clear, Tom, you're thinking Tampa by like what, 17 points?
I think it will be a little more of a blowout than people expect. So, yeah, I'd say 2 touchdowns. Sure. Let's go with 2 touchdowns.
Again, and from the way you're describing it, you're 38-3.
You know what? Stamp it. 38-3. 38-3. Stamp it. I'll even write that down. 38-3.
Don't want to do like a 25-22 or something.
38-3. That sounds good.
Well, I do actually believe that the Bucks have found themselves a way to luck into the one of the worst teams that somehow won a bunch of games. And I look at this Dallas team, and while some of their strengths do match up well against the Bucks, strengths like you think that should kind of work. What scares me is that Tampa has kind of shown signs of life a little bit at the end. The run game is still terrible, but can the coaching staff make enough changes? I don't believe in either one of these coaching staffs. I think these are two of the worst coaching staffs in the playoffs. Todd Bowles and McCarthy. I think it comes down to quarterback play and which quarterback makes the mistake. This year, it's been Dak. Will Brady make a mistake or two? I don't know. I think the Bucks squeak out a victory, and like Tom said, they go down the field and kick a game-winning field goal with like I don't know, a minute 20 left in the game. That's kind of what I expect, and Dallas will make it a little bit interesting, and then Prescott will get picked off to end the game.
Yeah, I think I agree. Any other team in the playoffs, I don't think we're saying the same thing. But I think Dallas is the one matchup that favors us.
Let's face it, he'll probably get picked off to start the game too.
I'm just throwing out all these fun facts. Every Florida team will be facing a team with a better record than them, and two of the teams are division winners. I really want that to just. Man, Florida football is just peak football right now.
It is. I don't know if anyone can say different.
Normally, we like to end with a last thought and we can still possibly do that here. But I want to do things a little different. Gannon has reminded us of some of our takes from earlier in the year, and and so I'd like to go around and I want to let us give one apology to a team or player, or to the fans of what we did wrong, and I will start. Cincinnati Bengals fans, I'm sorry. I thought you were a team of regression. I thought you were a team that was going to be a letdown and finish behind the Baltimore Ravens. And I took my victory lap a few weeks too early. So on that, that's my bad. I'm sorry, Cincinnati Bengals. Tom, are you sorry for anything?
Oh man. Um, I think there's maybe two things. One, uh, maybe sorry to the Rams fans because we
Oh,
kind of thought they were gonna come in and have another great season. They had a lot of returning players. And I know week one, it was a tough matchup. Who were they? It was the Bills. I think they were playing week one. Um, and we knew kind of the Bills were going to win that, but we're like, yeah, Rams. After this week, they're probably going to pick it up, and it just didn't happen. Um, but I think truly the one I would like to say sorry to the Raiders fans because I really played them up before the season started, and I was high on them, and I just you looked at who they had, and bringing in Devontae, I don't know, but it didn't pan out the way I had hoped. So I'm sorry if I got everyone's hopes up of what that team was going to be this year. Just didn't work.
Gannon, new year, new you. Are you sorry for anything?
yes, I am. I'm sorry for doubting the Seahawks. I'm sure everybody and their mom doubted the Seahawks. They're probably bottom of the barrel team, but that wasn't the case. Everybody doubted Geno Smith. The world doubted Geno Smith. And most importantly, I doubted Geno Smith. And I was wrong. He set three records for that franchise that was previously held by Russell Wilson. He killed it this year, and I would like to give a round of applause to Geno Smith.
All right, all right.
Well, I mean, is there anything last? Do we want to do our last, or I mean, I think the sorry is a good way to end.
I have one last word. We'll
Last word. Go ahead.
we'll finish on this. We hit on this a couple times. I almost made this part of the last section, but um, we didn't hit on the fact that Mike Tomlin kept his 500 or better record going. I think it's 16 seasons in a row. So I don't think anyone seeing where the Steelers were like halfway through the season or three-quarters of the way through the season thought that they could get to that mark, and they did it. 9-8. They kept their 500 or better season, and he keeps his streak alive.
I had a bet with a Steelers fan that if I won, whichever team had a better record had to change their background and all this stuff, and after Miami eliminated Pittsburgh, from the playoffs when Miami beat the Jets in a very decisive, dominating manner.
Mm-hmm.
We talked, and after I apologized on behalf of Miami, I did say, you know what, great year, be very proud of Mike Tomlin. Steelers, I don't know how much of future you have to look forward to. Kenny Pickett did not look that good to me, but you got yourselves a great coach, so give yourselves a pat on the back for good coach.
But that was the last thing I wanted to round out with.
Is there a more middle of the road team than the Steelers? Like, they're not good, but they're not bad.
Wow, shots fired, man.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
On that note, guys, I can't wait to go over everything next week with you guys. Tuesdays 8:30 Eastern. We tend to go live around that time. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on live on Twitch. It's the Fumbling Gurus. Guys, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Bye.